Hello, everybody. A lot of churches have something in common with that classic Kevin Costner movie, Field of Dreams. They kind of think, hey, I'm going to set up a Facebook page, I'm going to set up a YouTube channel, and I'm just going to post my announcements and post some live streams. And since I build it, they will come. But in reality, that's not really how social media works, because you've taken the first word out of the equation, social. If social media is not social, it's just media. And media kind of died in a sense 20 years ago. We've been living a new paradigm ever since, MySpace and Facebook and all these different social media kind of cropped up, and people became not just consumers of media, but they became producers and consumers of media. All right. Now, even on top of the if they build it, they will come, let's say all of your church did come and liked your page and was following your page and liked your channel, was following your channel. Well, the way that these algorithms work, they don't necessarily show everything to all of your members, right? Each member is only going to see a fraction of your posts or a fraction of your videos. They're not necessarily going to get everything. So if they're not seeing everything, then you're not going to get a whole lot of engagement. You're not going to see a whole lot of growth in your members through these. If you're doing a devotion series and they only see one of the 5 devotions that go out that are part of a series, they're probably not getting a whole lot out of it. And it's still, like I said, it's that broadcast culture. You're expecting them to consume it. You're not really getting involved and engaged in their lives. And I would put to you, theologically, Jesus went out and looked for people. Maybe your church should do that too. Maybe you as a pastor, or generally as a Christian, should also make a point of going out and reaching out to people, even if that's social media. What do you need to actually do to kind of get your social media and your digital ministry off the ground? Well, the algorithm doesn't really punish people the way that it punishes organizations. Sure, it doesn't necessarily push everything up to the top, but you're going to be hit a whole lot less. So what you need to do is come out from behind the veneer of your church, and you need to be the person. So less about the organization, more about, hi, I'm Pastor Dave, and I'm going to follow my member, Sue, and Sue's going to look and see, Pastor Dave followed you. Do you want to follow him back? That is the main process. And that's the way that you're going to get involved and engaged in people's lives and have some input. And also, you're going to gain a lot of information about the people in your church in terms of what are they struggling with? What are they going on and what's going on in their lives? Now, you're probably wondering, well, how do I get started with this? And that is where I like to use a method I call the jar method. I'm not the guy that invented this. I heard it from somebody else. He probably heard it from somebody else. But I like to take a jar, and I like it to be one of these masonry jars because they're kind of cool to look at. You can see them, see what's in it because they're clear, and it's a little bit hipster. Now, start off with your church management system or your database or whatever. List off all of your members in your church. Start with your core members and kind of work your way out, but start with that list. Get the jar. Now what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get 20 items to put in that jar. It could be paper clips. I've done paper clips before. It could be marbles. It could be coins. Whatever it is. It could be pebbles. Put something interesting in it. Leave it on your desk. People will ask about it. Like, what is that? Why do you have these things in your desk in the jar? And you can tell them, that's what I use to reach out to my congregation. And they'll just go, okay, whatever. But every day, take those 20 items that you've got in the jar, empty out the jar. So now you've got 20 somethings on your desk, pebbles, whatever. Now your goal is fill the jar. So each time that you reach out and try to connect with one of your members, put an item back in the jar. 20 is just kind of an arbitrary number to start with. If you've got like 100 people in your church, you're going to have this over with in a week. If you've got 1,000 people in your church, it's going to take a little bit longer, but you're going to be working there. If you find that 20 is too much, start with 10. You can get there with 10. Like I said, if you're an average sized church, like 100 people, it's going to take you only a couple of weeks to get all your members in. And then you can start working on when visitors come in, you invite them as well. Just always kind of use the jar as that method. There are automated ways to do it, but for most, the jar method is going to work really well. Now, you're going to finish connecting to people a lot faster than an hour, but set aside an hour to do this. And the reason that you should set aside an hour is because you can friend those 10 to 20 people, or at least try to send invites to those people. Then go ahead and go through your, do a batching session. And a batching session is just, you've set aside some time to go through your social media, see what's going on, like stuff, comment on stuff, especially the stuff going on with your members and things like that. Just go through and, if you see something like Sue just got a promotion, celebrate it, tell her congrats. If you see that somebody lost their job, their mom, their dog, whatever, post in there and say, hey, man, I'm really sad to hear this. Is there anything that I or the church can do for you? Now, keep in mind, everybody that knows this person is probably going to be seeing this. Everybody's going to be going through their chat and the responses, and they're going to see that, hey, your church actually cares. Their pastor actually took a moment and was following them and saw that something's going on in their life and offered to help. We like to post stuff. We like to post those live streams of our sermons, those things like that, but that's not the things that impact people. I remember when I was a young pastor, one of my mentors, Brandon got a call from a frantic wife that her husband had been out hunting, and during the hunting he had gotten a deer, but he was kind of remote and he was having a hard time getting it back, and he was really worried that he wouldn't get back before dark. And in North Idaho, that's kind of dangerous. Well, Brandon, jumps in his truck, goes down, helps the guy to butcher and carry out this deer. And that meant more to that guy than anything else. That guy, he became a Christian. He was just a fixture in the church after that point. It was just the smallest little thing of Brandon getting involved in this guy's life that made all the difference and all the impact. So you can use social media that way as well, and you should be using social media that way. You shouldn't be using social media just to broadcast your devotions or your announcements or your live stream. You need to be using it to be engaged in people's life. So again, social media is social. Use social media in a social way. Connect with people, get involved in their lives through that social media. I hope that this has inspired you to go out there and start finding your congregants out there on social media. If this has been helpful to you, go ahead and like and subscribe for me. I appreciate that. It helps encourage me to keep making videos and keep helping churches and pastors out there. All right, you'll also see a couple more videos that are out here that you can click on and follow. Hopefully those will be helpful to you as well. It's been a great week. I'm so glad that I had the chance to talk to you today, and look forward to talking to you guys again next week.